Trump has fired 6 national security officials after meeting with Laura Loomer. Let's go to it.
Former President Donald Trump refused to distance himself from racist comments made by conspiracy theorist Laura Loomer, who has traveled with him this week.
Laura is a supporter. I don't control Laura. Laura has to say what she wants.
Do you disavow those remarks, and why? And why do you associate with her?
Well, I have to see what the remarks are. You're telling me for the first time we're here discussing the destruction of San Francisco and California by a person that's running for president. So I don't even know what you're talking about.
But other Republicans have raised alarm bells about Loomer, who called 9/11 an inside job, but accompanied Trump to 9/11 memorial services this week and has posted that the White House would smell like curry if Harris was elected.
Go ahead and play that clip of Donald Trump saying they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets of the people in Springfield, Ohio. You know, the thing that the media is blaming me for, they're saying, well, it's very clear that Laura Loomer is the one who told Donald Trump to say this during the debate. So what? I ain't like her. Okay? I don't suck to get to the top. That's what Kamala Harris does.
Put it up full mass. Here we go. All right, we got to get into the side chick business with Donald Trump. Okay. The White House. But let me say this. I know some people are going to complain about my contextualization, but understand what's happening. They're traveling together. These rumors have been echoed by members of the Republican Party, all right? And when the reporter asked the question about her racism, Trump responds as if it's his wife. He says, I don't control her. She's her own person, you know. What? Wait, I've never heard Trump refer in that context when it comes to a defense of somebody else. So there's a different relationship, believe me. Okay, put it up. So the White House has fired multiple administration officials, including at least 4 national security advisors or council staffers. 3 sources close with the move told CNN. Firings came after Laura Loomer, far-right activist who once claimed 9/11 was an inside job, urged Trump during a Wednesday meeting to get rid of multiple members of his National Security Council staff, including his principal deputy national security advisor, claiming that they are disloyal. It was unclear when the Loomer meeting was placed on the schedule, but one aide said the presence of Wiles and Gore underscored that it was a sanctioned meeting. The Oval Office meeting with Loomer, which was first reported by the New York Times, took place as the president and his economic team were prepping the tariff announcement in the Rose Garden, you know, wrecking Americans' economy. Waltz had been in the Oval Office for other meetings when Loomer arrived for an audience with Trump and stayed as the president met with Loomer. Susie Wiles, the White House chief of staff, who was among the advisors who worked to control Loomer's access to Trump during the campaign, was present for the Wednesday meeting. Sources familiar with the meeting said. One of the sources said Loomer had compiled a list of roughly a dozen names and that the subsequent firings were a direct result of the meeting with Loomer. Now, first of all, she didn't just compile the list. She was asked to compile the list. She didn't just come to the White House. She was requested to the White House. None of these things are happening just because Loomer wills them. It is because the president of the United States is not only a surrogate for Elon Musk, but he is, in addition to that, unable to run his own administration. So he calls in Laura Loomer, an outsider, to do so. There's more. Trump defended letting people go when talking to reporters about aboard Air Force One. This was Thursday. Quote, always, we're going to let go of people we don't like, or people that we don't think can do the job. It's the people you don't like. You don't care about you doing the job. Or people that may have loyalties to someone else. That's it right there. Okay. Trump said, but he said Loomer was not involved in Wednesday's firings, calling her a very good patriot, whatever that may mean. Here's what we know. Nobody met to figure out how to make sure you have a livable wage. Nobody had a meeting so that cost of living would come down. Nobody met to figure out how you would benefit from their leadership. Not one of them. Trump praised Loomer, saying that while she has recommended firing people in the past, now that's pretty bold. That's you just recommend who needs to be fired. Yesterday, she recommended some people for jobs. Quote, she is a very strong person. And I saw her yesterday for a little while, and she makes recommendations on things and people. Trump said aboard Air Force One. Quote, and sometimes I listen to those recommendations. Like I do with everybody. I listen to everybody. And then I make decisions. Loomer did not offer details on the meeting, but said she'd, quote, continued reiterating the importance of strong vetting. Out of respect for President Trump and the privacy of the Oval Office, I'm going to decline on divulging any details about my Oval Office meeting with the president. Loomer told CNN earlier Thursday, quote, it was an honor to meet with President Trump and present him with my findings. I will continue working hard to support his agenda, and I will continue reiterating the importance of strong vetting for the sake of protecting the president and our national security. We're supposed to be protecting people. The folks who voted in the election, the ones who wanted to vote but couldn't, or maybe didn't, but they are in this country. The Trump administration also fired the director and deputy director of the National Security Agency. CNN reported late Thursday. The 4 officials fired include Brian Walsh, a director for intelligence and a former top staffer for now Secretary of State Mark Rubio. On the Senate Intelligence Committee, Thomas Boudry, a senior director for legislative affairs, who previously served as Waltz legislative director in Congress. David Feth, a senior director overseeing technology and national security, who served in the State Department during Trump's first administration, and also Maggie Daughtry, senior director for international organizations. Now, many of these appointments and these individuals are what you call lifers. All right, they really don't change with the administration. Sometimes their position may change, but their expertise is so valuable, the institutional knowledge remains. They are not overtly partisan typically, and they have engaged in significant industry work within that particular government position. The reality is Trump is simply creating the atmosphere for one test alone, your loyalty to him. Now, he's doing this within the first couple of months because he wants to send a message to anyone who may be disloyal to him. So this is a big, big firing. We're not talking about firing from an unknown department, okay? And we're not even debating, why would the president be involved in such staffing issues like this day to day? Well, he's doing it intentionally. He's shrinking everything to fit him and to be loyal to him and nothing else. Put him up. Principal Deputy, National Security Advisor. His name is Alex Wong. You see, Alex was not among those who had been dismissed on Wednesday. However, one White House official speculated to CNN Thursday that Wong could actually be out as later that day. Though a final decision had not been made, Wong was one of the advisors specifically targeted by Loomer, who publicly questioned his loyalty to Trump and criticized him privately as a never Trumper. One of the sources speculated that National Security Advisor Michael Waltz may have been reluctant to fire Wong because he has been embroiled in a controversy surrounding the leak of the controversial signal messages related to military strikes on Yemen that Waltz and his team have been under fire for initiating. Yep, I'm pretty sure that's the reason. All right, a lot of twists and turns, dear brother. What say you?
What I say is this, is that President Trump is now getting advice from a self-proclaimed Islamophobe, self-proclaimed white nationalist. Those are the words of Laura Loomer, not mine. A person who has been part of entrapments, who has set up immigrants to be deported by hiring them to do illegal activities on purpose. Someone who has been a part of entrapment in setting up the Hillary Clinton campaign by collecting illegal donations and then trying to tie them to them. Someone who is a constant conspiracy and hate monger. This is the person who he has to decide. And then we keep hearing these words like loyalty. Loyalty to who? Loyalty to the country or loyalty to President Trump himself? Because that is what this country is about, is loyalty to this nation. So you are firing 4-star generals who have given their lives and their entirety of their lives in order to get there. And you're saying that they're not loyal to the United States of America? These qualified 4-star generals, and you're thinking of Laura Loomer, who has a degree in journalism from Barry University. No one's even heard of Barry University. And that's the person that you're asking? That's the person you're asking? We have a problem. And this is 2 months in. What are you gonna do 2 years in or another 2 terms in? Please stop this now.
Yeah, and this is what happens when you elect a brand rather than a public servant. But here's the thing with brands. Brands fade out. Nobody stays loyal forever, all right?